If you own a Wenzel tent, a Coleman lantern, an Ozark Trail sleeping bag sitting in your garage right now, I need you to know something before you take it on your next trip. 9. Camping brands are not the companies that built their reputations. The names stayed the same. The products didn't. Here's what happened and what to buy instead. Counting down from 9. Number 1 is probably in your garage right now, and it might be the one that hurts the most. Number 9. Browning Camping. If you bought a Browning camping tent because the name felt like a guarantee, because Browning has meant quality for over a century, you were right about one thing. The name has meant quality, just not in camping. Browning's reputation was built in firearms. John Moses Browning designed the M1911 pistol, the weapon the United States military carried into combat foes for over 70 years. That engineering legacy is real and it is extraordinary. It has nothing to do with the tent in your garage. Here's how that happened. Browning Camping is a licensed brand. The Browning name is owned by FN Herstal, a Belgian firearms conglomerate. The camping division operates under a separate licensing agreement, meaning a third party manufactures and sells camping products under the Browning name, paying a fee for the right to use it, with no direct involvement from the firearms engineering operation that built the reputation being borrowed. The Browning Glacier Camp tent retails for around $250. At that price, it sits directly next to the Big Agnes Copper Spur HVUL2, the MSR Hubba Hubba, and the Nemo Dragonfly. Every one of those tents publishes pole alloy grades, fabric denier ratings, and hydrostatic head numbers for both the fly and the floor. The Browning Glacier Camp product page publishes none of those specifications. The pole material is described as aluminum without a grade. The fly waterproofing is described as weather resistant without a millimeter rating. Weather resistant is not a specification. It is a description that means whatever the marketing department needs it to mean on any given day. The camo pattern on the tent body is doing all of the pricing work. The engineering underneath it is not. The name says a century of precision engineering. The product page says weather resistant. Number 8, Kelty. If you own a Kelty sleeping bag or tent that you paid more than $120 for, here's something worth knowing. The Kelty you bought was not built by the company that earned the name. Dick Kelty invented the modern external frame backpack in 1952. That invention shaped the entire trajectory of American hiking as a recreational activity. The Kelty frame pack made multi-day wilderness travel accessible to people who were not professional mountaineers. That contribution to outdoor culture is genuine and it is significant. Here's what happened to it. Kelty is now owned by American Recreation Products, a holding company that also owns Sierra Designs. Manufacturing is overseas. The mid-range and upper-range Kelty products, sleeping bags retailing at $150 to $250 and tents at $200 to $400, compete directly with Nemo equipment, Big Agnes, and MSR, where the engineering investment per dollar is measurably higher. Here is where the numbers become impossible to ignore. The Kelty Cosmic 20 sleeping bag retails for $149. The fill is $550 fill power down, a low grade for this price point. The fill weight is not disclosed on the product page. Without a fill weight, the temperature rating is a number without a foundation. You cannot verify whether the insulation volume inside the bag is sufficient for the claimed rating without knowing how many grams of fill are actually in there. At $179, $30 more, the Nemo Riff 15 discloses its fill weight, uses a higher fill power, and employs a spoon-shaped cut that is wider at the knees and hips to match the natural sleeping position of a human body. Standard mummy bags, including Kelty's, compress the insulation between the knees, exactly where warmth is most needed at low temperatures. Nemo identified that problem and solved it. Kelty has not. At the entry level, bags under $80, tents under $100, Kelty is a legitimate recommendation. The construction is honest for the price. The problem is everything above that tier, where you are paying for brand recognition, built on a 1952 invention, while the actual product is built to a commercial price target that prioritizes margin over the performance you are paying for. Buy Kelty at the entry level. At anything above $100, your money works harder elsewhere. Number 7. Coleman. Post 2015. If you own a Coleman product bought in the last decade, here is the uncomfortable truth. The company that built the trust behind that name does not exist anymore, and almost nobody knows it. In 2015, Newell Brands, the conglomerate that owns Yankee Candle, Rubbermaid, Crock-Pot, and Sharpie, paid $13.2 billion for Jarden Corporation. Coleman came with the deal. It now sits inside a $16 billion consumer goods portfolio, managed alongside scented candles and permanent markers by a company whose outdoor expertise begins and ends with the Coleman name it purchased. To understand what has been lost, you need to understand what Coleman actually was. In 1942, the United States military needed a stove a soldier could carry in a field jacket pocket, compact enough for combat, reliable enough to function in mud and cold when failure was not an inconvenience but a casualty. Coleman built it. Soldiers carried it across the Pacific and through Europe. Many brought the same stove home, and their sons used it after them. The original two mantle lanterns from the 1950s and the 1960s still function today, not as collector's pieces, but as gear people actually use in their backyards and on camping trips. Parts are still available because the design never needed to change. That is not a marketing story. That is a company that managed continuity of product across generations. Here is what has happened since 2015. The Golden, Colorado facility, the place Coleman actually called home, was closed in 2016. Manufacturing moved overseas. Community forums from longtime Coleman users tell the same story across a decade of posts. Newer stoves made from thinner gauge metal, newer tents with lower denier fabrics and reduced waterproofing, newer lanterns lacking the durability of pre-Newell equipment. One user on a camping forum put it plainly: it is the same thing that happened to Schwinn and Mongoose. Quality names stamped on products that no longer justify them. At $80, today's Coleman 6-person instant tent is selling you the marketing heritage of W.C. Coleman, funded by Newell's portfolio management operation. The lanterns your grandfather trusted were built by a company that managed product continuity across generations. The company that owns the name now manages margin continuity across quarterly earnings calls. The soldiers who carried Coleman into combat in 1942 would not recognize or trust what is on the shelf today. The most trusted name in camping, now the most expensive logo on a Newell brand spreadsheet. Number 6, Igloo. Igloo has been making coolers in Katy, Texas since 1947. Domestic manufacturing is a genuine point of differentiation, and it matters. Many Igloo products are still made in the United States. The Max Cold line performs reasonably at its price point. For a weekend barbecue or a casual camping trip, an Igloo cooler does exactly what it is supposed to do. So why is it on this list? Because Igloo markets itself alongside premium performance coolers at prices that have crept steadily upward, and the construction gap between Igloo and genuinely high-performance alternatives has never been wider. Independent testing consistently shows Igloo coolers maintaining ice for 1 to 2 days under real-world conditions. Premium roto-molded alternatives hold ice for 5 to 10 days at comparable or lower price points when you factor in longevity. The construction difference is not a matter of opinion. It is physics. Igloo uses injection molded HDPE, the standard process for commodity plastic goods. The walls are thin because the injection molding process cannot produce the wall thickness needed for serious insulation without dramatically increasing material cost. Premium coolers use rotomolding, a process where molten plastic is rotated inside a mold until it coats every surface in a single seamless shell. The resulting walls are 2 to 3 times thicker. No seams means no weak points. Thicker insulation means the ice stays longer. The physics are not negotiable. Igloo's highest end products now retail for $150 to $200. At that price, you are one tier below a Lifetime or an Orca cooler that will hold ice 3 to 5 times longer and outlast an Igloo by a decade. The value proposition at the top of Igloo's lineup has completely collapsed. Fine at the budget end, unjustifiable at anything above it. Number 5. The North Face Camping Specific Gear. The North Face was founded in 1966 in San Francisco by Douglas Tompkins, a serious mountaineer who wanted equipment that matched the demands of serious climbing. The original products were built for expeditions. Real expeditions, not marketing campaigns. Here's what happened. VF Corporation acquired the North Face in 2000. The brand now operates as a fashion label that sells camping-specific products primarily to people who wear them in cities. That is not an opinion. It is a distribution and demographic reality visible in every retail environment where the North Face operates. The North Face Eco Trail sleeping bag retails for $180. The insulation is synthetic. The temperature rating is 35 degrees Fahrenheit, a 3-season rating at a price point where competitors offer meaningfully lower ratings. The packed size is large relative to competing bags at the same price. For $180, Nemo delivers a meaningfully better synthetic bag with superior packed volume and a lower temperature rating. For the same price, Sea to Summit delivers a down bag with a significantly smaller pack size and a better warmth to weight ratio. The North Face charges a premium calibrated to its streetwear positioning. That premium has nothing to do with the performance of the camping product in your hands. At $180, you are not buying a tent or sleeping bag built to expedition standards. You are paying for a logo that reads well in a coffee shop and performs adequately in a campground. The mountain heritage is marketing. The gear is mid-range at premium prices. Number 4. REI Co-op House Brand. REI is a cooperative, a membership-based retailer that returns profits to its members and positions itself as the ethical alternative to corporate outdoor retail. That story is real. It has earned REI enormous goodwill among the camping community for decades. The house brand gear is a completely different conversation. REI Co-op branded products, tents, sleeping bags, backpacks, and rain jackets are private label goods. REI designs them to a price target, contracts manufacturing to third-party factories in Asia, and sells them under the Co-op brand at margins that fund the retail operation. This is the same model used by every supermarket chain that sells its own pasta next to Barilla. The pasta is from the same factories. The branding is different. The margin goes to the retailer. The Co-op Groundbreaker 2 tent retails for around $180. At that price, it sits directly next to Big Agnes, Nemo, and MSR, brands whose entire business is building that one product category to the highest standard they can achieve. REI's house brand gear is not built to that standard. It is built to a retail margin standard. The difference shows in the details. Zipper quality, pole material, fabric denier, seam taping consistency. These are not subjective assessments. They are material specifications that can be compared side by side on a product page if REI published them in the same format its competitors do. It does not. REI's return policy is generous enough that the quality gap rarely becomes a public complaint. That generosity obscures the gap rather than closing it. You are paying a premium for a brand whose primary expertise is retail, not product engineering. The co-op model is admirable. The house brand gear is not the reason to shop there. Number 3, Slumberjack. If your Slumberjack sleeping bag does not list a fill weight anywhere on the packaging, here is why. The company that owns Slumberjack has a specific name for what is happening to this brand. It is called margin recovery. That phrase comes directly from Vista Outdoor's 2023 annual report, where their outdoor products division is described as focused on margin recovery following supply chain cost pressures. In plain language, reduced material spend applied to a brand that has been making sleeping bags since 1956. Here's what that looks like in the actual product. The Slumberjack Latitude 20 degrees Fahrenheit sleeping bag retails for $70. Fill weight, not disclosed. Shell fabric denier, not published. Temperature rating, no EN1 3537 verification. The bag uses a rectangular cut instead of a mummy or semi-rectangular shape, which increases the volume of air the bag needs to heat and reduces effective warmth at any stated rating. At the same $70, the Kelty Cosmic 20, itself not a perfect product as we covered earlier, at least discloses its fill weight and uses a semi-mummy construction that outperforms Slumberjack's rectangular geometry on documented warmth retention. When Kelty is the more transparent option at the same price, the bar has been set extremely low. Slumberjack equipped hunters, scouts, and family campers through decades when the name meant something specific. Accessible, reliable, American-made gear at a price that did not require a second mortgage. Now it is owned by Vista Outdoor, a conglomerate whose portfolio spans ammunition brands and firearms accessories alongside outdoor recreation gear, with Slumberjack sitting in the budget tier of that portfolio and receiving the material investment that budget positioning implies. Built for campers in 1956, optimized for shareholders in 2025. Number 2, Ozark Trail. If you bought an Ozark Trail tent for $35 and a sleeping bag for $20, and your first camping trip was calm and dry, you got lucky, and Walmart is counting on that luck to bring you back for the next trip too. Here's what is actually inside that box. Ozark Trail tents use fiberglass poles, heavier than aluminum, weaker under lateral wind stress, and they do not bend when they fail, they splinter. The fragments are sharp. In a real storm, a failed fiberglass pole does not gracefully collapse the tent. It punches through the floor from the inside. Campers who have experienced this describe reaching for the zipper in the dark and cutting their hand on the fragment before they understand what happened. The rainfly is rated at 1,000 millimeters hydrostatic head, the absolute minimum threshold at which a fabric can technically be called waterproof. In light drizzle, that is adequate. In a genuine storm, with wind pressing the fly against the tent body and pack weight pressing fabric against the seams, a 1,000 millimeter fly is a suggestion of waterproofing rather than a guarantee. For comparison, MSR tent flies are rated between 1,500 and 3,000 millimeters. Nemo flies start at 1,200 millimeters. That gap between 1,000 and 1,500 millimeters is the gap between waking up dry and waking up in a puddle at 3 in the morning. The sleeping bags use polyester fill with no disclosed fill weight and temperature ratings with no EN 13537 verification. An unverified temperature rating on a sleeping bag is a marketing number, not a safety specification. There is no laboratory, no standard, and no accountability behind it. Here's the part that matters most. Ozark Trail is not hiding what it is. At $20 to $35, nobody is pretending this is premium gear. The problem is that it sits on the same shelf as actual camping equipment with none of the construction compromises visible to someone who has never bought a tent before, someone who cannot identify a fiberglass pole risk by looking through a box window. For a meaningful number of first-time campers, a bad night with this gear is not just a bad night. It is the night that ends their relationship with camping before it ever really started. Not just bad gear. For thousands of first-time campers every year, it's the last gear they ever buy. Number 1. Wenzel. If you have ever bought a Wenzel tent because the name felt familiar, because it sounded like something that has been around forever, you were right about one thing. It has been around forever, just not in the way you think. Wenzel has existed since 1887. That is not a typo. The brand predates the automobile, commercial aviation, and the entire concept of recreational camping as an American pastime. For generations, Wenzel was simply part of the outdoor landscape, reliable, unpretentious, there when you needed it. Here's who owns it now. Midwest Quality Gloves, a company whose primary business is, accurately, work gloves. That is not a punchline. Midwest Quality Gloves makes work gloves competently. What they are not is a company with any heritage in outdoor engineering, tent design, or any particular reason to care whether a tent pole survives a thunderstorm in the Adirondacks. They acquired the Wenzel name because it was a recognizable asset with existing retail placement, and they use it to move product through Walmart, Target, and Amazon because the name still carries enough residual memory of credibility to make people reach for the box. The Wenzel Sprout 4-person tent retails for $60. Fiberglass poles. The Rainfly is rated at 1,200 millimeters hydrostatic head. Nemo also starts at 1,200 millimeters on their entry products, but uses silicone-treated nylon, which does not absorb water the way Wenzel's polyester coating does. Polyester absorbs moisture at the surface, a process called wetting out, which reduces the effect of waterproofing even before the hydrostatic head rating is reached. The difference is not visible at the point of purchase. It is visible after 3 hours of sustained rain when the inside of the fly starts to feel damp to the touch. At $60, fiberglass poles are not inherently disqualifying for mild weekend use in good weather. What is disqualifying is selling a 135-year-old heritage name to people who associate that name with durability, when the current owner's core business is work gloves and the engineering investment in the product reflects that priority exactly. 135 years of history, new owner, a glove company, same shelf, different everything. 9 brands, 9 different ways to sell you the memory of something real while delivering something that is not. The pattern across all 9 is identical. A missing fill weight is not an oversight. It is information the company has decided you do not need. A proprietary waterproofing name without a millimeter rating is not a technical specification. It is a marketing department filling the space where a number should be. And a heritage founding story attached to a product made by a conglomerate that also owns scented candles is not a quality signal. It is the most expensive part of what you bought. Before you spend $1 on camping gear, find 3 numbers on the product page. The hydrostatic head rating for the Fly. Not weather resistant, not waterproof. An actual number in millimeters. The fill weight of the sleeping bag. Not fill power alone. The actual grams of insulation inside. And whether the pole material is aluminum with a disclosed alloy grade or fiberglass with nothing behind it. If a product page answers all 3, the brand is not hiding from the comparison. If it answers none of them, you now know exactly why. Drop the brand you are currently using in the comments. Did you check the specs before you bought it? Or did you find out the hard way? If this saved you from a bad purchase, hit subscribe. We break down what is actually in your gear every week.